So, another new technology innovation that is coming forward that a lot of organizations are starting to pay attention to is really the dawn and the advent of quantum computing and the massive innovation that that is going to bring to the world. But with that massive innovation, new security risks are also, just like all previous technology innovations in cloud and in AI, right? Quantum brings fantastic business innovation, but also brings a level of security risk that we now have to think about and figure out how we will manage to in the enterprise. And one of the biggest areas that's really a core focus for people is their cryptography, the state of their cryptography, the security posture that they have around their cryptography. Cryptography touches everything that we do across our lives, really. Everything from our bank accounts to the health and infrastructures that we rely on to the way we turn our lights on and the energy infrastructures, right? Cryptography is embedded in everything we do in applications and networks and across our infrastructure. And cryptography is part of what keeps our data safe. It is how we keep data protected and put security around data as it moves. And so, with the advent of quantum computing, and when we have a quantum relevant computer, the concept that it will be able to break encryption that we have trusted and been able to rely on for many, many years means that we have to start thinking about post quantum cryptography. PQC is a common term that you'll hear discussed. And so this is a massive transformation. What I refer to as, all the places that cryptography touches in our world and in our infrastructures and in any given company, there's a lot of custom applications. There's a whole lot of infrastructure that has to be looked at and assessed in terms of what will need to be changed or adjusted to post-quantum cryptography. And that's a massive transformation, just like we've been through other massive technology transformations like application modernization as an example. It is a multi-year journey. And so I think over the last 12 months, the rate and pace of how I have seen organizations start to really look at assessing their risk, really understanding what their security posture is around their cryptography has significantly increased. I think previously people thought this is way into the future, this is a decade away. And I think the more information and education that people have been getting around this topic, it's coming sooner than we may think. And the fact that it's a multi-year journey means that you need to start now in really understanding your risk, because you are going to be looking at a roadmap across your organization that is going to extend across multiple years of how you will start to transform and implement post-quantum cryptography. And I think another key aspect for organizations, because we've just seen sort of just so much more movement over the last 12 months on this, is the fact that NIST published standards over the summer. So now there are cryptographic standards that can be implemented. And those standards being published, I think, has really made this real for people as well, that now that they can truly not just look into the risk, but start to do something about it. So it is a really fundamental area that I would really encourage organizations to start to understand and, look to working with us and our partners to help you understand where your risk is, how you think about that migration, what you prioritize and how you prioritize the actions for your own organization, and what's the most important sort of ways to go about it for your business. So, in addition to just thinking about this on the going forward, I think one of the areas that it's really forced people to look at, there's a real now problem. There's this whole concept of harvest now, decrypt later. So, when data is stolen, it's encrypted. There's not a lot that someone can do with that, but in the future they will. And so, that reality and that fact has put a level of data exposure on data breaches that are occurring today. And what that really does is really gets you to think about and forces you to really think through how you are protecting data today in the enterprise. So it's not a future problem, it's a now problem. And areas like the use cases of data detection and response as an example, and really understanding and making sure you have monitored your data for malicious activity and can get in front of those types of data breaches really lowers your risk in the future if you do get, to prevent that exposure of data that may be stolen that is encrypted that can be unencrypted later. And it puts a much higher emphasis on really making sure you have the right data security controls in your organization to mitigate some of the risk. Those are very common strategies that are being used by malicious attackers today. So there's a lot of very real-time now technology that you also can be implementing to reduce your risk around some of those types of strategies that attackers are absolutely taking.